Hello, this is EQ4 Indus Valley Civilizations. We're in Unit 1 Early Man and River Valley Civilizations. We're still in Time Period 1. This is pre-AP World History, and this is Standard 3. Let's go ahead and take a look. We've already looked at Mesopotamia and Egypt. Let's go and see what's going on with Indus. Alright, when we talk about the area, India is what it, commonly gets referred to. We're really talking about parts of Pakistan with the Indus River Valley. The whole area really encompasses what is known as South Asia. Okay? Alright. Just like the other two, we're going to start off with talking about its geography and how it's going to impact this area. First, the Indus is where we see our first settlements, the Indus River, and then later on you have the Ganges. Now, there is some natural barrier for protection, at least early on. However, we're going to see one group that's going to overcome this by going through a small mountain pass in the Hindu Kush Mountains and invade the Indian subcontinent. But the Himalayas to the northeast, that is the worst N ever. And the Hindu Kush to the northwest. And of course, if you go south, you run into the ocean. Like I said, the Khyber Pass, it's in these mountain ranges. It does provide an entrance route for people to migrate into the Indian subcontinent through these mountain ranges. Isolated to the south by the Bay of Bengal, Indian Ocean. And we get seasonal monsoon rains, which bring much needed precipitation. Okay, so that's your basic geography. We're going to move on and we're going to start talking about social politics, settlements, that sort of thing next. Here we go. The early settlements, first the Indus, then later on the Ganges. Monsoon rains, generally coming from that direction. You have settlements by this group known as the Dravidians. These are your earliest settlers in the Indus River Valley. You have two different sites, Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. They're a ways from each other, okay? It's tough to tell how much contact they had with one another, how much they mirrored each other. They do follow similar patterns of settlement. But given their distance, it's unclear as far as how much they interacted. It would be great to know this, but there's a problem. These Dravidians, they developed a language system, but unfortunately this language system is isolated and we've not been able to translate it as of yet. So we do have writings from the Dravidians, but we're not really sure what they're all about because, like I said, we can't decipher them. So they're pictographic. Pictures mean words, at least we think so. So largely when it comes to Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, people are going to have to fall back onto the archaeology. Remember, we study archaeology when there aren't written records. They had specialized labor as far as we can tell, clearly defined social classes, and you have a lot of advancements in the Indus River Valley very early on that you don't see in other parts of the world for quite some time. Public baths. Now, I've got a picture of one over here in the lower right hand corner here, the ancient remains of, I believe this one's Harappa. Public baths were not done for anything, strange or anything. It was done for sanitation purposes. If you have 80 to 90% of your population that's going to be focused on agriculture, they're going to get dirty. Public baths were provided for sanitation more than anything else. Indoor plumbing in many of the upper crust of society's homes, and you have here's an open sewer, city sewer systems. You also are going to have grid-like patterns, almost of modern day, city planning went into Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. It wasn't just a haphazard collection of housing that was stacked on top of each other like the Neolithic site at Catalhoyuk. It was well planned out. We see a decline. Over time, there is environmental degradation due to deforestation. There's possible flooding and or earthquakes that are going to set these civilizations back, okay? Now, there is another group that comes through this Khyber Pass. You can see it today. It's just a small break in the Hindu Kush Mountains where people can go in and come into the Indus River Valley. And this is a group known as the Aryans, okay? Aryans were from Central Asia, and They come through the Hindu Kush Mountains down into the Indus River Valley of both Indus and later on the Ganges. They are Indo-European, Central Asian. They are pastoralists, so they're somewhat nomadic. They sort of have home bases, but somewhat nomadic, herding mostly sheep and goats, I believe. So semi-nomadic invaders from Central Asia. They go through this Khyber Pass in the Hindu Kush Mountains. They bring the first horses to South Asia, and they easily conquer what is left of the Dravidian population after a series of declines and stepbacks that they had already been experiencing. What this is going to do is it's going to change the fabric of South Asian society. They're going to bring Sanskrit, which is your, if you're not sure, your writing system. We do know what Sanskrit says. And they're going to bring a rigid social structure. We'll talk more about this in class when we talk about the development of social castes, C-A-S-T-E-S, in South Asia. Excuse me. They do adopt a coin system by 500 BCE. This is telling you that they are going to be trading and that they are going to be expanding their civilization. They also bring with their culture the Vedas, which were brought to India. These are some of your oldest texts that are important in the Hindu faith. The Rig Veda, proper priestly Brahmin behavior, place them in positions of authority in government and society. This is getting to that whole social structure that I mentioned before. We have what is simply known as the Vedic Age, from about 800 to 400 BCE. Now this goes a little bit out of time period 1, but that's okay. It doesn't fit perfectly in it. I understand. It's okay. Where you have Aryan and Dravidian beliefs, then they're interacting and they're forming. When we look at Hinduism, there is no one, centralized, considered founder of Hinduism, because it's one of those. It's a belief system that develops over time through these interactions. You have the Upanishads, which is another later, besides the Vedas, another important work in Hinduism, which is a collection of religious thoughts and concepts that sort of help explain a lot of these Vedas. Okay, concepts such as Brahma, Dharma, Karma, and Moksha, which we will discuss more in class. I'm just previewing it right now. Okay, Vedas and Upanishads as foundational. I already said that. Okay, all right. So don't be real concerned with this part here. We're going to do something in class to sort of figure out everything that we need to know and understand about Hinduism for this course. Focus on, all right, monsoon rains, Indus River Valley, Dravidians, later on Aryan migration, and rigid social structure. And then we'll go from there. All right, thanks for listening. Peace.